Leeds flock gang members jailed over ferocious stabbing of rival drug dealer in Chapeltown Street attack. Members of a notorious Leeds gang have been jailed after a rival was stabbed in car during an attack carried out with careful planning, organisation and execution. Prenda Malungo and Marlon James carried out the ferocious attack on the victim as he sat in a car after being lured to the Chapeltown area. A court heard Malungo and James are members of the Flock organised crime gang and were subject to an injunction banning them from associating with each other at the time of the attack. Sheffield Crown Court heard the attack happened on March 22nd last year outside a newsagent's on Reginald Road, James Lake. Prosecuting said the victim was a rear seat passenger in a silver Audi A1. A Citroen C3 car belonging to Gary Lewis pulled in front of the Audi. Malungo and James got out of the car carrying knives and went towards the Audi. The defendants lunged into the vehicle with their weapons and attacked the victim. 2 plainclothes police officers were on duty nearby. Both officers saw what was taking place and made their way to where the attack was taking place. They identified themselves as police officers, and the attackers ran off. The officers chased after both males, but stopped when they realized they were carrying knives. The Audi was driven off with the victim still in the rear of the vehicle. Lewis remained at the scene and was spoken to by the officers. They described him as very calm and relaxed. Lewis told them that he was just there to buy some food. The officers conducted a vehicle check on the Citroen, which was still there with the engine running. The vehicle was registered and insured to Lewis. He said he must have forgotten to take the keys out the vehicle, which he said explained was why the engine was still running. Although skeptical of the account given by Lewis, the officers allowed him to leave. Later that day, a receptionist at St. James Hospital called the police. The receptionist stated that a man had walked into accident and emergency with a stab wound to his hand. She described it as a big gash. Police went to the hospital and spoke with the victim. He said that he had been in the back of an Audi when somebody opened the passenger door and started thrusting a knife toward him. He received treatment for a laceration to the left palm of his hand and a puncture wound to the left forearm. The police investigation revealed that Malungo and James were part of a well-organized attack. The victim refused to provide a statement, but told officers that both men were asking him for cash. The attack is captured on good-quality CCTV. The footage shows that he and Prenda Malungo drove to the scene together in his Citroen motor car. They were met by Marlon James. All 3 men waited down an alleyway for the victim to be driven to the area. Malungo's fingerprints were recovered from the front passenger side door of the Citroen. The victim's blood was found on a distinctive jacket worn by Malungo during the attack. The prosecutor said, Marlon James and Prenda Malungo are very close criminal associates. They were members of a gang called the Flock. Prenda Malungo is currently subject to a gang injunction which prohibits him from contacting and/or associating with Marlon James. The court heard the victim had been on a car journey relating to the supply of drugs earlier on the day of the attack. Malungo, 24, of South Farm Road, Gipton, was jailed for 8 years, 4 months after pleading guilty to attempted robbery, unlawful wounding, and possessing a bladed article. He also pleaded guilty to possession of cocaine and ecstasy with intent to supply in relation to a separate incident. Marlon James, 27, of Spencer Place, Chapeltown, was jailed for 7 years, 6 months after pleading guilty to attempted robbery, unlawful wounding, and possessing a bladed article. Gary Lewis, 24, of Reginald Street, Chapeltown, was jailed for 2 years after pleading guilty to perverting the course of justice and an unrelated, dangerous driving offence.